order. If everyone can please stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. For the agenda, I'd like to excuse Trustee John Sabo. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections for the agenda?
I'd like to add Parks 3, adult outdoor soccer piece.
Any others? Seeing none. We don't have anything for unfinished business. I'll take us over to Ms. Campbell for new business.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to contract with Sims Cemetery Information Management System for our cemetery.
So moved.
Second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harmless?
Yes.
Okay, just allow me a second to get to number 2 here. Okay, I have a resolution to authorize a change in Trent Sapper's hourly rate of pay per the collective bargaining agreement with Local 561 of the Utility Workers of America.
So moved.
Second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you, that's the end of new business.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. We don't have anything under the sheriff's report. That'll take us over to the fiscal officer's report.
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize payment of pending warrants in the amount of $128,061.20.
So moved.
Second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the investment report.
Everything look okay, or
Yeah, everything's going well.
if you have any questions, see Mr. Wolf after the meeting.
Fiscal Officer number 5 is a resolution to authorize the following transfer of funds.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 6 is a resolution to remove stale warrants from the outstanding warrant list and transfer the funds to the general fund. In the event Plain Township is contacted regarding payment within 5 years of transfer, it will be made from the general fund.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 7 is a resolution to set up a public hearing for Tuesday, May 28, 2024 at 6:15 p.m. for creation of a lighting district as petitioned by the property owners of Saratoga Hills number 7, and authorize the Plain Township Fiscal Officer to make the necessary notification to the property owners and publish a legal ad in the repository newspaper.
So moved.
Second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 8 is a resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments of EMS.
So moved.
Second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 9 is a resolution to approve Huntington Merchant Services procedure to process credit and debit card payments to the township, including a 3% transaction fee in each transaction, and to advise the purchaser of this procedure at no cost to the township.
Second.
So moved. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And Fiscal Officer number 10 is our Otama renewal. There's 3 options if you want to increase the coverage.
I would move on fiscal officer number 10 with an $11 million liability
I'll second that.
limit.
Discussion.
And just a thanks to the department heads for reconciling and updating effort going forward, because I know it's
Appreciate it.
an administrative, time consuming.
A huge thing to Joy, she took the lead in this and up to the last minute was making corrections until we finally got it correctly today, so.
Thank you. Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
That concludes the fiscal officer report.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Now I'll take us back over to the administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to change the trustee meeting date from December 24th, 2024 to December 23rd, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Had to pick the 23rd, anytime afterwards, it's too short for fiscal to be able to close out the year, and if we'd gone the week before, then it's 4 weeks between meetings, and we gotta pay those bills before the end of the year, so I explained if any department heads already have plans, I'll more than happily do their reports, but unfortunately, just the way it fell, we have to have it on the 23rd.
Thank you. Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you, that's the end of the administrator's report.
Thank you. That'll take us over to Chief at the Fire Department.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the change of pay rate for the following people: Emily Phelps, Abigail Shaver, Paige Sugalski, Danelle Workman, per resolution 23-185 as they complete their 1-year probation.
So moved.
Second, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that concludes fire department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. That'll take us over to the Road Department. Drew?
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to amend resolution number 23-187.
I will so move.
I'll second.
Item number 1.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to enter into an agreement with OHM for fee modification, additional engineering services, project delays for the Orange Street Northwest Storm Sewer Improvement Project Phase 1, not to exceed $16,110.
So moved.
Or second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 3 is a resolution to enter into an agreement with OHM Advisors to prepare the bid package and for ongoing construction services, and to set right-of-way property pins and prepare legal descriptions and mark trees for the Orange Street Northwest Storm Sewer Improvement Project Phase 1, not to exceed $20,300.
So moved.
Second, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 4 is a resolution to enter into an agreement with Sowers and Bowie and Associates LLC for 11 value analysis reports and 1 value finding report for the Orange Street Northwest Storm Sewer Improvement Project Phase 1.
So moved.
Second, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 5 is a resolution to enter into a right-of-way agreements with property owners for the Orange Street Northwest Storm Sewer Improvement Project Phase 1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 6 is a resolution to authorize good faith offer payments to property owners for Orange Street Northwest Storm Sewer Project Phase 1.
So moved.
Second, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 7 is a resolution to contract with McBurney Concrete Incorporated for the installation of concrete pad under the new hoop building.
So moved.
Second, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 8 is a resolution to list road materials bids received.
So moved.
Second, discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 9 is resolution to award road material bids.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 10 is a resolution to sign road material contracts.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 11 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to McIntosh Oil for gas, oil, and diesel fuel.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 12 is a resolution to promote William Kopp from project inspector to supervising foreman effective April 28th, 2024.
So moved.
Second, discussion,
Just for the record, we'd like to reflect, we appreciate his efforts as he's been very aggressively progressing
Yes.
on taking on extra effort and responsibility and not just meeting expectations, but
I'll pass it on.
giving you the support, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that concludes road.
Thank you, Drew. From the bottom of our heart, I know that you've done a stellar job stepping up and doing all that. And you've had a lot of late nights the last week, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
That'll take us over to the zoning department. Tom?
Thank you, ma'am. Item number 1 is a resolution to declare item A as a nuisance abatement.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion?
Tom, this is the one that we've had back and forth over the years where they stack. It's been that pot. Is it that house close to?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Extra cars.
This has been like almost 10 of the 14 years I've been here. I know back and forth, they sort of neaten it up, but it's still just garbage.
Oh, looking at the picture, I mean, it's atrocious. All right, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that's all for zone.
Thank you, Tom. That takes us over to the Parks Department. Rob?
Item number 1 is a resolution to authorize work and payment upon completion of work to Austin Drain for the connection of a water line to the Diamond Park Barn.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thanks. Item number 2 is a resolution to authorize work and payment to Terminex for pest control of the Diamond Park indoor complex as well as the barn.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thanks. Item number 3 is a resolution to increase registration fees for the adult and outdoor soccer leagues.
So moved.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
That concludes parks.
Thank you, Rob. This will take us to the portion of the meeting. We have, for the law director, anything?
No, thank you.
Okay, we don't have anything under communications. Now take us to the public speaks. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to address the board, please stand up or come to the podium and say your name and address for the record. Okay. Any concerns of trustees?
Nope.
And concerns of the fiscal officer?
No concerns.
All right, that'll take us to the approval of the minutes. I will make, yeah, we do not have any.
We don't have those.
Rob, or
No.
Rob's not here. No. All right, that'll take us to the adjournment. I make the motion, we adjourn at 6:13.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.